Hello, Miss Kirk here with our next toolbox tool. Wait, are you laughing at me? Why are you laughing at me? What are you laughing at? Oh, you must be laughing at my ears. Well, maybe my ears give you a clue of what toolbox tool we're going to be talking about today. Do you have any guesses? Why might I be wearing these silly, pretend, big ears? Well, if you guessed because we're going to be talking about being a good listener, you are right. Today we are going to be talking about our listening tool. And our listening tool tells us that we listen with our ears, with our eyes, and with our heart. We'll talk more about that in a minute. I'm going to take these off because they don't stay on very well. And because I don't want you laughing at me. But we're going to be talking about how to be a good listener today. So I hope that you'll join us for some fun and exciting things about being a good listener. To get us started, I had a book I wanted to share with you. This is called Howard B. Wigglebottom Learns to Listen. It's kind of a silly story, but I like it, so I thought you might too. Let's see what happens to Howard. Meet Howard B. Wigglebottom. Howard is always in trouble at school because, well, Howard doesn't listen. During story time, instead of quietly listening, Howard bounces around the room. Howard B. Wigglebottom, please sit down, be quiet, and listen, said his teacher. But Howard doesn't listen. Howard B. Wigglebottom, you are bouncing too close to the fan, said his teacher. Did Howard listen? Nope. But Howard doesn't listen. Hey, Howard, watch your step, said his friend. At lunchtime, his friend tried to warn him. Uh-oh, did Howard listen? But Howard doesn't listen. After lunch, Howard's friend tries to tell him something really important. But Howard doesn't listen. On the playground, Howard's teammates try to help him. Hey, Howard, keep your eye on the ball. Boink. Did Howard listen? Howard doesn't listen. The ball hit him right in the eye. In the art room, the teacher reminds the class, kids, try to keep the paint on your paper. But Howard doesn't listen. So the teacher asks him to take a timeout. Howard feels sad. Howard doesn't like being alone and in trouble. He thinks and thinks about his day, like when he was bouncing too close to the fan and didn't listen. And in the lunchroom when his friend tried to warn him and he didn't listen. And when his friend was trying to tell him something important and he didn't listen. And when his friends tried to warn him about the ball, but he didn't listen. And in the art room, when the art teacher told him to keep the paint on the paper, but Howard didn't listen. Howard makes up his mind. From that moment on, he will try very hard to be the best listener that he can be. The next day, Howard does listen during story time. He waits for his turn to talk, and then he raises his hand and asks a question about the story. Howard gets a #1 listening star in class that day because Howard is really listening. While walking home, Howard uses both his eyes and his ears to help stay safe. Howard is really listening. When Howard gets home, he listens to his mom, too. Please hang up your backpack and clean up your room now, said Mom. Okay, Mom. Howard is really listening. So Howard gets extra time to play and have fun. Howard B. Wigglebottom is really listening now. Howard, it's time for a bedtime story. Please brush your teeth first. Is he listening? Yep, he's listening now. Look, he's got his number 1 listening star. Good night, Howard. The end. That's the end of our story, but this last page is really helpful because it says how to be a better listener. So let's see what Howard's tips are. Howard's tip to being a better listener is to sit quietly. Use both your eyes and your ears to help you listen. Like when he was crossing the street, he was listening for cars and for when he was able to go, but he was also watching to see when it was safe to cross the street. Don't interrupt. Wait your turn to talk. That's an important one. Try your very best to understand the person speaking. Raise your hand and ask questions if you don't understand. And pay attention. And paying attention means to be alert and really know what's happening around you. That's important too. Those are Howard's tips of how to be a better listener. Very good. Oh, Howard had a problem at the beginning of our story, and he was not a very good listener. He needed, even though bunnies have big old ears, he wasn't using them, just like I have these big old ears. But the important part's not the size of our ears. The important part is how we use our ears, right? Yeah, it doesn't matter if you don't have big ears like this. You don't need big ears like this. You just need your regular ears to be able to listen and to be able to use your listening tool. So let's talk a little bit more about what our listening tool says, because kind of like in our story about Howard, our listening tool says, I listen with my ears and my eyes. We've already talked about what that means, but it also says we listen with our heart. And that one's a little more confusing because I don't know about you, but my heart's inside my body. How can I listen with it? Well, I have an idea of what I think they're talking about when they say listen with your heart, and I think we can do an example. So watch me carefully as I pretend to be a friend. I am your friend, but as I pretend to be talking to you, and you have just asked me how my day is. So you said, Miss Kirk, how's your day today? And here's my answer. My day has been really good. It's been a great day. Thanks for asking. It's been a good one. I've had a lot of fun. I'm feeling really happy. I feel loved and important. I'm having a good day, I guess. Okay, so that was our example. So you asked me how my day was, and I responded. And what did my words say? Not my face, just my words. My words said I had a good day. I was feeling happy. My words said I felt loved and special and important. My words said that it was a good day and I was feeling good, right? If you would have just been listening, that's what you would have heard. But you were also listening to me with your eyes and with your heart. So tell me what your eyes saw and your heart felt as I answered your question about how I am. Did you feel like I was actually feeling happy? Probably not, because I was looking down. I wasn't looking at you. I was looking down. I wasn't smiling as I was saying I was happy. I was talking kind of quiet. I wasn't talking in my normal happy voice. So your heart told you that my words didn't quite match up with my feelings. So being a good friend of mine, what could you do after that happened? You could say, oh good, I'm glad you're having a good day, Miss Kirk, if you just listened to my words. But if you listened with your eyes and your heart too, what could you do? Maybe you could say, Miss Kirk, you say you're having a good day, but it doesn't seem like you're having a good day. Are you really having a good day? That might make me feel better. I'd feel supported that you're asking more. You could say, Miss Kirk, you said you're feeling happy, but your face looks sad. Which one are you feeling? Maybe then I would open up more about how I'm feeling. Yeah. Sometimes we use the words we think people want to hear. I'm feeling fine, but maybe I'm not really feeling fine. And that's why listening with our heart and our eyes and our ears is so important. Very good. So next time you're talking with someone who you love, whether it's your family member or your friend or anyone, and you're talking to them, make sure you're really listening to the words, because that's really important. We want to be a good listener, because we learned from Howard we don't want to be like he was at the beginning of our story. We want to be a good listener, but it's really important that we're a good listener with our ears, our eyes, and our heart. Give it a try and see what you can learn by listening with all three: your ears, your eyes, and your heart. Thank you for joining us today for our lesson about our listening tool. Remember, our toolbox tools help us to be the very best that we can be. And when we listen with our ears, with our eyes, and with our heart, we are truly the best version of ourselves. So make sure you listen with your ears, your eyes, and your heart always. And make sure that you show kindness in all you do. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.